Good morning, Rabotai. Please, if you're learning with a Gemara class or something, please continue learning. That's why we're using the microphone, so you can carry on learning while we're doing the class. Okay. Bishut Avimori. Bishut Hamaluf. My friends, I want to share with you one idea, very short, very powerful yesod. Something that I think about every year when we come to this parasha. The parasha tells us, Vaetchanan el Amonai va'et lemor. I prayed to Hashem at that time, saying, Eber ana ve'ereh, let me cross over the Yarden, let me get into Eretz Israel. I wanted to see the land. And the rabbis point out something fascinating and, quite frankly, depressing. It's very sad. Let me point out this nikuda. Moshe Rabbeinu, when the Jewish people sinned by the Egel, Moshe prays for them. When the Jewish people sinned by the Meraglim, Moshe prays for them. Every time Hashem says He's going to punish them, every time Hashem says the Jewish people deserve to be destroyed, Moshe Rabbeinu stands in front and says, Mechenina, Lama Yomru Misraim. Every time Moshe Rabbeinu with another defense of the Jewish people. And look how powerful it is. Finally, the one time that Moshe Rabbeinu needs something, he prays for everybody else. But when Moshe Rabbeinu needs something, Vaetchanan sechachamim lashon yachid. And I prayed. No one else prayed for Moshe. They did not make Tehillim chats for him. They did not have the Asifa. The Rashi Yeshiva did not close off Mea Sha'arim and do a Yom Tefillah. Vaetchanan. And I prayed. Alone, by himself. My friends, and I want to draw a powerful conclusion from this. A lot of times, you have somebody who does everything for the community. But when the time comes in their hour of need, where's the community for them? Very powerful yesod. Lo hayav lo nivra. Everyone forgets who he was. And I think there's this, this experience that Gemara tells us about a certain rabbi. His name was Chonia Ma'agal. Chonia Ma'agal always had a question. His question was, the Pasuk says that Hayinu kecholmin, that we were as sleepers, we were as dreamers when we went into Galut. And Chonia Ma'agal said, is there such a thing? Someone who could dream for 70 years? Who goes to sleep for 70 years? Anyway, what happens? The whole story, God makes him go to sleep for 70 years. He comes back after 70 years. Everybody he knows is gone, right? His family, his friends. He comes to the Beit Midrash. He tells them, I'm Chonia Ma'agal. And they're like, what are you talking about? Chonia Ma'agal passed away a long time ago. Chonia Ma'agal says, the Gemara says, he asked for mercy. That's what the Gemara says. It doesn't say he prayed to die. Bai Rahame. He asked for mercy. And he passed away. And the Gemara concludes and says, what do you see from here? Ihavruta, imituta. Either you have someone standing by you, you have a friend, you have a support system, imituta, or you'd rather die. That's the Gemara says. Now, I've always think when I read this Gemara that in Chonia Ma'agal's case, there's a whole scenario that caused that he should be left alone. He had to go to sleep for 70 years. He had to be covered over by bushes so no one would see him. A whole story had to happen for him to be abandoned. But you know what? For many rabbis and people who work for the community and school rabbis and a mora and a principal and the person who runs the mikveh for 50 years, they don't need a story for everyone to forget them. It happens naturally. And a guy wakes up one day and he doesn't know. Everybody abandoned him. Nobody cares about them anymore. My friends, Vaetchanan el Amonai va'etahi. Moshe prays and he prays alone. So the question you have to ask is, why does Moshe pray alone?
Did the people know that he's not going in?
The people knew he was not going in. Yes, he already put his hands on Yehoshua to say that Atat tarhil ta'at, Atat tavo. You're going to bring the Jewish people into Eretz Israel. So the Jewish people know, and Moshe tells them it's because of you. But the people don't pray for him. Why would the people not pray for him? Why? What does it cost them? I said this the other day, the Chachamim tell us that when the Beit HaMikdash is destroyed, it's destroyed for Sinat Chinam. How are we going to build it again? Ahavat Chinam. How many times did you hear that? 50,000 times you heard that, right? So there's two ways to define the word Ahavat Chinam. One way to define Ahavat Chinam is that you love someone for no reason. That's Ahavat Chinam. But I thought there's another way to define Ahavat Chinam. And why, if you don't have it, the Beit HaMikdash stays destroyed. Ahavat Chinam could also mean, a guy comes, he needs tzedakah. He says, listen, we're brothers. I'm suffering. Look at what's going on. We're all one part of one nation. I have a issue, medical, school, yeshiva, this, that. The guy comes and he's asking for your compassion. That ahava, to love that person, costs money. That's ahava sheyesh ba hisaron kis. But then there's ahava that's ahavat chinam. Someone asks you, do you mind if we say, guys, at the end of tefillah, do you guys mind if we say Tehillim for 2 minutes? Somebody has they have a surgery today. That's ahavat chinam. Someone asks you to judge someone favorably. What does that cost you? Nothing. Ahavat chinam. In Shamayim, the greatest payment we'll pay is for ahava that was free that we didn't do. Costs you nothing. Conversely, sinat chinam means when you hate someone because they killed you, because they took your business, because they beat you up and left you for dead in the alley, fine. But sinat chinam, where two people sitting at the table and you're talking lashon hara about some guy you barely even know. Oh, what's this guy? What's he like? Who is he? The guy is giving you lashon hara about a guy you never even met, and you're interested, and you're investing in sinah for nothing. It doesn't help you. That's the worst in Shamayim. That's the biggest judgment there's going to be on something where there should have been no yetzer hara. Okay? So my friends, I'm going to ask you over here. The Jewish people didn't have ahavat chinam for Moshe Rabbeinu. No one could pray for him. So I want to share with you a very deep yesod. You know what the answer is? The answer is very simple. A guy comes to the knis and he's walking around with the machine and he's asking you to swipe your card. Used to be they gave you they ask you for money like this. Now they ask you for money like this. If they see you reaching for the wallet, they say no. They want the card. They want the card. It's harder for a guy to tap and put only $1 than to give $1, right? They want you to go large. Anyway, the guy's asking you for money. That guy, you know why you help him if you help him? Because he held out a machine and he embarrassed himself publicly to say that he needs the bidiyot. But my friends, you see a guy who, he's a CEO of a big company. Are you going to think to reach in your pocket at Shacharit and give him $5? Of course not. In fact, if you gave a guy like that $5, what would he do? Throw it at you. What are you embarrassed? I'm a poor guy. He would be humiliated by your help. The reason why the Jewish people didn't pray for Moshe Rabbeinu is because which Jew, if the Moshe Rabbeinu turns the Gezerah against all of Am Yisrael and Shamayim, he turns the Gezerah about Miriam that she should get better. He turns the Gezerah of the Miraglim. He winds up praying in the aftermath. He knows how to stop the angel of death in his tracks. He has the secret. He knows the Ketoret. He sends Aaron to stand Ben Hayim and Ametim. I have to pray for this guy? They could not fathom that their prayers were needed for Moshe Rabbeinu. They could not, such a thought, like you don't give $2 to the richest guy in shul, you don't give a prayer to Moshe Rabbeinu. Vaetchanan, Moshe prays alone. But my friends, like this lesson in Torah, so it is true in our lives and in our families. A lot of times, the people who need the most help are the strongest people you know. It might be that they have a lot of wealth in this area, but in another area, they could be aniyim merudim. You could have a person who has all the money and the power in the world. You know what he doesn't have? Zero love. Nobody loves him. Everybody's afraid of him. Everybody wants something from him. But who loves him? Who's a friend with him for no ulterior motive? That guy's poor. On that guy, if Shaila Hagid, Haynu Hadichtiv, O Havruta, O Mituta. I remember a girl came to me, she was crying. Very wealthy family. She's crying. I said, what's the matter? She says, I'm never going to get married. I said, why are you never going to get married? You're a young girl, you come from a great family, yeah, you great education, you look great, everything's great for you. What's the problem? She said, anytime I go out with a guy, I never know, is he dating me or my father? Guy has millions of reasons in the bank to marry me. I never know. I never know if it's really about me. A person like that is not a person for us to be jealous of. It's a person for us to have rahmanut on. But no one ever thinks that there's no tzedakah started up. For an orphan, we have a tzedakah. For a person who's mentally challenged, you have a tzedakah. But for that person, there's no one is thinking of helping that person in every arena. And people don't realize this. With their friends, with their family, with their brothers or sisters. Everyone thinks, let's help out the Hazike's brother. But then there's the other brother who maybe everything is going well with them. But they're going through another kind of issue. And because he's rich, you don't help him with Shalom Bayit? Our brains are messed up in our time. We respect money so much. We respect power so much that if a guy has money and power, we think he has all the other things. But that's Majnun. In fact, many times it's the opposite way around. So here's Moshe Rabbeinu, so powerful, but because of his power in other areas, for other things, no one stands by him when it comes to his tefillot. When it comes to a person's own prayer, Chazal actually tell us, En harush or en asir motzi atzmo mibeta asurim. I could be very powerful if I'm outside of prison. But inside a prison, how am I going to get myself out of prison? So the most powerful person in the world needs someone else to get them out of prison. When Moshe's in a pit, Tzipporah is literally feeding him because he's locked up in a pit under Yitro's house. In that moment, for that thing, he was powerless. My friends, we need to open our eyes when we see human beings, family, friends, community people around us, and to recognize that every single person, whatever he has, there's something he's missing. Borei nefashot rabot esronan. He might be the biggest neshama, he might have the biggest nefesh to the point that he's ready to say vayi nafash, but still vechesronan. They're missing something, and it's the job of a human being to be able to do that. I heard once a rabbi under chuppah, he said everything in Judaism is on the right side. So how come the heart is always associated on the left side? How come a person's heart should also be on their right side? That's where their strength should be. And he says the heart is exactly in the right place. Because when two people are facing each other, my heart is on your right. I'm standing liyamincha, to your right, to be your strength. Yemina monai romema, yemina monai osahayel, standing opposite us, yani. Therefore, the heart is on the right side for it to be strong for another person. We have to have strength in our hearts for the ones around us. That no one should ever pray alone, be alone, act alone, married alone, raising children alone. If someone has trouble getting their kids into school, it's not their problem. It's all of our problems. And I'll end with this. In Lakewood, there was a school year starting, and there was, I think, a bunch of kids, maybe 11, 12, 15 kids, I don't know how many, that had not one school to go to. They were going to start school, these kids are going to be at home. Rabbi Elyashiv walks into Lakewood, he hears about this, or he says it from Israel, I don't know what happened. He said, not one of the schools in Lakewood, there's 100 schools, not one school opens, not one, until every one of these kids has a place to be. And Lakewood, they listen to Da'at Torah, that's the, the order of the day. So what happened? They shut down every school. All the principals got together, they had an asifa, until I took one, this one took one, that one took one, and then they were able to open. So I thought to myself, was Rav Eliashiv punishing the schools? There's many more than 11. All the other schools that are not even going to take, they have to be shut too. You know what the answer is? When 11 kids or 15 kids or 20 kids, when kids in a community are not being accepted into a school, then every school in the community has no right to open their doors, because de facto they are not an institution of education. Because if they are a yeshiva, then there can't be a child on the street. And if there's a child on the street, then they're not a yeshiva. So until the problem was solved, they had no business opening their doors. You know why? Because they were not a yeshiva. If they have a problem with their kids, that's all of our problem. Hashem should bless us, Be'ezrat Hashem, to have eyes for another. Baruch Amen. Rabbi Chanan.